All right, so the big Ubisoft reveal is coming up. Year 3 Skull and Bones Cells of Power. Is it going to live up to the hype? What do you guys think? This is Cryptic Gaming. Now, we've been covering Skull and Bones since its initial release, even weeks before it came out. And I want to take a moment to just touch over this with you. If you're new to the game, you've got about 6 months before you hit a wall of content that will not add anything to the game. Now, if you have been playing this game for as long as I have, and you have reached the end of the content arc here, and you're going, okay, is year 3 going to bring something worth coming back to? I know that there's people out there announcing that we're back and it's going to be awesome and that the year 3 is really looking up. Those are lies. That is a lie. I wish people had more integrity. That is the difference between a true gamer and a partner with Ubisoft, guys. I'm going to give you all the lowdown here. So, coming into year 3, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the completion of the 3rd year contractual agreement between Ubisoft and Singapore government, which is to add 3 years of new content. And here's what you're going to see coming into year 3. You're going to see a couple new large ships, probably a couple medium ships, but you're going to get the galleon and the new battle junk. Okay, that is going to be a galleon. The battle junk is what you see Lee running in, that really large junk ship that she has. That is the battle junk that's coming to the game. Now, we don't know what the other 2 ships are going to be. There will be 4 for year 3, though. So that's something you can count on. Now, you're going to see World Tier 3, World Tier 4, and World Tier 5 release here in the game. You're going to see a revamp to World Tier 2 as well. So that's going to give you 4 seasons of content, with World Tier 2 being the first major big thing that's going to kind of change up a little bit here. It's going to get a little harder for those of you who were looking for some difficulty. Then World Tier 3, you're going to see where eventually they're going to make it so you can bring your ship up a level. Then you're going to see the mythic upgrades coming in where you can bring your not just a ship up an extra level or so. You're going to see where we could actually start to bring our weapons in with mythic upgrades as well. And then we're going to be able to bring our armor in to mythic upgrades as well. And eventually you're going to hit World Tier 5. They're going to stretch this out just a little bit. Now, for those of you who, like me, had kind of stopped playing back in year 1 for a little bit, waiting on content to catch up, and we had all the big promises about how we were supposed to see the hand-to-hand combat coming to the game, and we were going to be going to an island and we were going to fight this pirate horde to rescue an officer, and there was going to be several officers that we could choose from based off of that ability, and then they were going to have an officer system put into the game. And then they put it on hold, and they said, okay, well, we got to put that on hold. We want to make sure it's polished in. So they gave us Faction Wars. Just, okay, Faction Wars, this is going to be the foundation of the crowning jewel of what the quadruple A game was meant to be. Now, what we're going to see here in year 3, guys, yes, that's right, take a breath and prepare yourself, because I know it's a shocker. Ground combat is canceled. There is no ground combat coming to Skull and Bones at all. That has been officially announced from Ubisoft. There is no ground combat. It's done. Now, you're going, okay, well, at least we get the officer system. Hold up, not so fast. The officer system, along with the original development team and programmers of Skull and Bones that was working on all that, they took that system with them when they went to the Black Flag Remastered, and they put it in Black Flag. It is not coming to Skull and Bones. And those programmers, they're not coming back over here either. We have not even the B team, more like the D team of what's left. Basically the janitorial service that keeps the servers going, and they've brought some guys in to throw in some new ships for you so that they can meet the contractual obligation for 3 years of new content. Years 4 and 5, here's my prediction, they're going to be some basic stuff like trying to sell you some cosmetics. You might see a couple of little ships come out, but there's not going to be anything major happen. Now, in fact, when you look at what we had story-wise in year 1, when we come into year 2, we ended up with about 8 minutes worth of extra story for an entire year. 8 minutes worth of extra missions. That's pretty bad. Now, we did see the new Kraken, which honestly, it was a very big disappointment to me. I found it disappointing. They finally did get it kind of fixed in a little bit, but it was still a disappointment. We've seen a lot of reskins. We've seen a lot of repeats of the Moonshiners missions and things like that. Those tired systems that we've had. And then, of course, Faction Wars, man. I know I was excited because we had a lot of things that, even though it wasn't included in Faction Wars, we had people who Some wanted campaigny, the other wanted to be on the French, and it's like, okay, all right, with DMC in French, I believe it was Dutch Merchant in French. So we had a couple groups going on in the group. It was like, okay, here's what we could do. We could come up with some things. We could have some defenses and stuff, or attacks and things like that based off the faction war. Really expand on it till they catch up with faction wars. Well, they ended up getting rid of the defense stuff where we all would show up to defend our forts. That's gone. It was gone. It's done. In fact, most of faction wars was broke in year two. I don't expect it to be any different here in year three. In fact, I've been monitoring a lot of the patch notes over the last several months since even before Crimson Desert came out. A bunch of us went over to playing it. What we ended up seeing happening here is they kept breaking the same systems over and over and over and could not fix them. So that's why I say we've got a D team, the janitorial staff, I think could do a better job than what these guys are actually doing in the game. Not trying to be mean, just being realistic. So I don't expect much coming out of this year three content of Skull and Bones. In fact, I don't expect anything new. Does not sound like there's anything new. So don't buy into the hype. I know that there's people that really enjoy and love the game. Hey man, I waited on this game before most of y'all even heard about this game. I had seen this game at a game expo in Portland, and it was just beautiful. And I was like, this is awesome. I had never even heard of Black Flag at that point, okay? And I was like, this game looks like it's going to be awesome. And I waited. I went and I bought the Xbox One back in the day because, I mean, everyone was like, oh, it's coming out on Xbox One. So I went and bought it. And then it did come out on the One. Then I went and got the One S. And I went and got the Xbox Series X. And then, of course, PS5. And, we finally got the game. It went through an entire generation and a half of a console before it released. It was nothing like what I'd seen, but it still had some promise, and it seemed like it was going to be something that we could really grow into. But unfortunately, Ubisoft continued to lie about the content they were bringing out. They would give their Ubisoft partners, people they would give us things. I used to be in that program back early on because I was like, hey, this would be great. We could kind of learn some of the stuff and make some great content as a gamer. And what I ended up realizing is a lot of the stuff that they said they were bringing to the game, they kept canceling. I was like, I'm not going to put my integrity on line for a lying company. And all they've done since is promise and never deliver. Promise and never deliver. So I'm just here to tell you, I believe year three is going to be the final nail in the coffin on Skull and Bones. They're going to promise you everything under the sun to get you to come back. And then you're going to see in the very first season of year three, they're going to take and they're going to start gutting it. And then they're going to do it again at season two, and then again at season three. And I imagine by the time year three is over, most everyone will have left the game. In fact, I don't expect a whole lot of views on this video simply because I think it's got like 200 players on it right now on Steam. I don't know what that equates to on consoles, but it doesn't sound like there's a lot of players actually playing the game any longer. Most people have moved on because they're sick of Ubisoft and the lies. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will catch y'all later.